Hey there, Knicks fans. We are so excited to announce that Fanatics Fest is back in New York City this summer, taking over the Jacob Javits Center from Thursday, July 16th to Sunday, July 19th. You can meet your favorite athletes from every major league, including current Knicks like Josh Hart, Jaylen Brunson, and Karl-Anthony Towns, and the legend, my guy, Patrick Ewing. Catch live podcasts and panels featuring some of the biggest names in sports while experiencing interactive activations from top leagues and brands. You could also grab exclusive merch and discover one-of-a-kind memorabilia from sports and entertainment, buy, sell, and trade collectibles with hundreds of top dealers, and best of all, connect with fans from around the world who share your passion for sports. Tickets are on sale now at fanaticsfest.com, and when you use that promo code KnicksFilm10 at checkout, you will get 10% off your purchase. How about that? It's an extra day of the world's #1 sports fan festival coming together under one roof, and you will not want to miss it. All righty. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook, where I wish I did not have to start out the show like I'm going to have to start out the show because that was not a good basketball game between two good or even very good basketball teams. That was a great basketball game between two great basketball teams. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously the defending champions, can't say enough about them. Exceptional team. But the thing about the Thunder and the fact that they are an exceptional team is that they are exceptional enough with just the 5 guys that they have out on the floor wearing the Thunder uniforms. That is enough for them to engage in a competitive basketball game against the best of the best. When you put them 5-on-5 against any team, it's going to be, it doesn't matter how good the other team is, it's going to be a great game because they have a lot of talent on that side of the ball. You do not need to give them an extra 3 guys because when it goes from 5-on-5 to 5-on-8, then an already exceptional Thunder team unfortunately becomes unbeatable. And that was the situation the Knicks needed to deal with tonight. And look, again, I really don't want to talk about this. If you guys have been watching me for a while, anybody listening on the podcast, you know there have been many a night over the years that I have been doing this, where people lost their minds about the refs after a particular game. And I was like, that's not where I want to focus my energy. There were things the Knicks could have done better or differently tonight to win the basketball game. That's not different tonight. There were things the Knicks could have done differently tonight to win the basketball game. They lost the game by 3 points, and they missed 6 free throws. So right there, just free throws alone. And there were some other things that we could talk about. But I thought they largely played an exceptional game. And they did not get a fair fight. They didn't get a fair shake. And that's always unfortunate. And it's a problem that the league has, I would say, been dealing with for a while. But the reality is they haven't been dealing with it because the problem has been getting worse and worse. We are further away from knowing what calls are, for refs knowing what calls are and what calls aren't, than we probably have ever been. And because as the commissioner tells you, it's a highlight league, and you know what they don't show in highlights? They don't show fucked up calls. So I don't think they're spending 1 ounce of extra time in the league offices over at whatever the fuck Olympic Plaza, worrying about this shit. But I digress. It's just really unfortunate because that was such a Was it always a well-played game? Not necessarily, but the reason it wasn't always a well-played game is you had two teams full of dogs trying their asses off, and the Knicks obviously gave everything that they had to try to win that one and came up just short. And you just wish it would have been fair, but it started right out of the gate, but when the third foul on SGA, which was very clearly a third foul on SGA, was not called the third foul on SGA in the first half, you knew we were going to be in for some bullshit. And then there were other little signs and drips and jabs along the game that you're like, all right, it's not the end of the world. We'll deal with it. And then the two overturned calls, one on so an OG, what could have been an and one, was overturned to an offensive foul. That's 3 points right there. There's your tie game. And then the cat proximate foul, which how you can call a proximate foul there on review. And of course, then Cat ends up fouling out. So look, I'm not spending the whole monologue talking about this. I'm sure other people are going to bring it up, but I it's not where I wanted to start. But it's where I had to start. So where do we go from here? There is a part of me that wants to, from here, talk about all of the things that I think were very encouraging about this game, all of the things that I did think the Knicks figured out defensively against a team that, when they are hitting shots, and the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight hit 38% from three on 42 attempts. There's a lot of nights where if that team hits 38% from three on 42 attempts, you're just not going to be in the basketball game, even if you are a very good team. And the Knicks were right there. So I thought the Knicks did a lot of things. They figured out a lot of things defensively. I could start with that. I could start with the fact that obviously the Knicks had about as bad a shooting night as you could reasonably expect. And they were still in the basketball game. And some of the things that I thought went well on offense, some of the things that I thought were a little tougher on offense. I could start in any of those places, and yet I would be remiss to start anywhere other than with Karl-Anthony Towns. Because my own personal biggest question coming into this game was, with the nice stretch that Karl-Anthony Towns has been having, and he has had a very, very, very nice stretch. It has been his best stretch of the season. If you want to look at it from an overall team impact standpoint, you could argue that it is his best stretch as a Knick, although he had obviously some brilliant individual stretches last season. I was looking at Towns, and I was looking at a team, and I talked about this earlier today on Weekly Wagers with Sean. I talked about it a little bit with Jeremy. You knew the Thunder were going to take him out of anything that he maybe wanted to try to do. And I don't know that there was a single shooting possession, or any possession really, from Towns tonight, the likes of which you're used to seeing from him over the course of a normal game. And so they, in that sense, you could say, all right, they accomplished their goal. And yet he found every way possible still to impact the basketball game in a positive way. And that goes for both ends of the court. Defensively, I thought he was extremely engaged throughout the entire evening. As engaged as you're ever going to see him. As honestly, I know he fouled out, but as good as you're ever going to see him. So on that side, it was great. And then on the other end, 9 offensive rebounds, 17 offensive rebounds total. Only took 8 shots. Most of those were on putback attempts. He was what his team needed him to be tonight, given the game plan that they were running. So I think in that sense, for Towns to be that effective against that team that has the sort of personnel that can really take the Knicks out of what they want to do and take Towns specifically out of some of the stuff that he likes to do, I think you have to consider it a positive night. Now, here's why I'm really encouraged. For everything I just said, I think that there's more meat on the bone. One, obviously, you look at the 3-point attempts for the Knicks tonight. There's only 3 Knicks that did not take a 3-point attempt. Jeremy Sohan, Ariel Hukporti, and Karl-Anthony Towns. There are ways to spring him for threes even against this team. He didn't take one tonight. I think there's meat on the bone there. That's number one. And then number two, and I saw Benji tweeted about this during the game, there are mismatch opportunities. Now, there's always going to be mismatch opportunities against the Thunder. The Thunder are better than any team in the league at almost baiting you into thinking there are opportunities and then either forcing a turnover or converging or any of those sorts of things. I still think there are ways to get him a little bit more involved in traditional offensive sets. Again, even against this team. And maybe part of the reason why we didn't see some of that is because the rest of the team was just like, nobody really had it going. And they weren't, and the Thunder were kind of daring them to pull up from three, and nobody really wanted to pull up from three because tired legs, shots weren't falling, the whole thing. But overall, incredibly encouraged by the performance, and just any critique I have is more on what more can they do from a game plan perspective. What more can they do? What more can Towns' teammates do? There was one stretch in the second quarter, very early in the second quarter, where I thought maybe Towns could have done a little bit more to be aggressive and get positioning and such. Other than that, I mean, look, he was the player of the game for the Knicks, and I don't think it was particularly close. Although there was one guy off the bench that we're certainly going to talk about. Okay, wanted to start with Cat. And from there, I think we have to go from one all-star to another. And it's going to be a little bit more complicated to talk about the second one, and that's Jaylen Brunson. I don't actually think that there's much to say about Jaylen Brunson's game. But again, for me to sit here and talk about all other sorts of things and not acknowledge the fact that Jaylen Brunson just had one of his worst shooting performance of the season would be extraordinarily disingenuous. Because if Karl-Anthony Towns or Mikal Bridges or even like Josh Hart had the shooting performance that Jaylen Brunson just had, it would be the first thing out of my mouth on the post game. So, yeah, we obviously are going to sit here and praise Jaylen Brunson and commend him for taking 3 charges and battling like all hell on the defensive end throughout the entire evening and giving it everything he has. You knew he was giving it everything he had and still finding ways to help his team on offense. 15 assists to 3 turnovers against this team. That is an insane ratio because they turn you over like crazy. And by the way, some of those 3 turnovers are very annoying, but this is the Thunder. This is what they do. And oh, by the way, in a game they lost by 3, Jaylen Brunson was still a +3 in 39 grueling minutes. All that's commendable, but if Jaylen Brunson has a 9 for 18 night instead of a 5 for 18 night, we're sitting here and we're talking about a different result. He had opportunities, not only at the end there from the corner, he had other opportunities throughout the night. It just wasn't Jaylen Brunson's game. I'm not making any more of it other than what it is, which was a terrible shooting game for him. And here's what I'm definitely not going to do. I'm not going to sit here and say that we should normally expect Brunson to go out there and shoot 13 for 18 against the Thunder and get to the foul line a bunch and have 30 points. No, Thunder are great. Lou Dort's awesome. This is a first-team all-defense guy for a reason. But you're not going to see this performance offensively from Jaylen Brunson on a regular basis, even against this team. So they needed more from JB tonight, even if he gave them basically everything he could. They needed more. Some other stuff from there that we could go to in no particular order. Mike Brown. I thought this was a really, really, really well-coached game from Mike Brown. You saw him pull out multiple stops in this game. You saw him go small several times. We finally saw Sohan at the 5 for a couple of minutes there at the end of, I think it was at the end of the second quarter, if I'm recalling correctly. You saw some different combinations. I really, really, really loved, and I guess we could transition to talking a little bit about some of what worked tonight. I loved their defensive approach. I thought they had the proper level of aggression in terms of going out with hard hedges, the occasional actual double on SGA, like anything to just try to throw him off his game a little bit. You look at SGA's final stat line, 26 points on 16 shots. He's the MVP. He's one of the best players in the game. Like, there is no stopping him. You only literally hope to contain him and, like, give the dude credit. Game on the line, not game on the line, but, like, needed one more bucket for his team. Step back three, nasty shit with OG Anunoby draped all over him. And that's, look, he's one of the 2 or 3 best players in the game, and he's on track to have a career that we're going to be talking about for a long time. But considering how dangerous he is, and considering that in the first half, they had a guy in Chet Holmgren equal his career high in made threes in a game in just the first half. And again, they shot 38% from 3 on 42 attempts. And then you throw in the refs and the fact that they got to the line 25 times and how many of those were legit. To hold that team to 103 points means you did good stuff defensively. The effort was there. The execution was there. And oh, by the way, you didn't have Mitchell Robinson tonight. And look, I know they didn't have J-Dub, and J-Dub is awesome. He is a hellacious one-on-one scorer, and he makes your life more difficult when he's in there. As good as Cason Wallace is, as good as Lou Dort was actually from the field tonight. How about Lou Dort with that big midi at the end of a defensive possession, a good defensive possession in the fourth quarter? That was really big. They have shot makers. J-Dub's on a different level. But you could argue that the Knicks not having Mitchell Robinson, and I thought Huck was pretty good defensively in the game, but you could argue the Knicks not having Mitchell Robinson, and again, them still holding the Thunder to 103 points. That's great. So I love the defensive game plan from Mike Brown. And then on offense, I mean, you had the 40-point third quarter, a lot of transition in there, obviously feeding off the energy of the Garden. Landry Shamet going crazy. We're going to talk about Shamet in a bit. The other 3 quarters, you combined for 60 points. I was watching the game and thinking to myself, possession after possession, like, what else could they be doing? And look, I'm sure there are smarter minds than me out there who watch this game and are like, oh, do this, try that. The Thunder they take away so much, and they're so good. And it's, again, they're not the best defense in the league. They're the best defense in the league by a comfortable margin. So like, and on a night when, by the fourth quarter, like the Thunder were just conceding, like they were going under screens, like they were conceding. If you wanted to pull up from 3, anybody on a Knick uniform, you could pull up from 3. We'll let you have the shot. And whether it was just tired legs or they knew, like, you look at some of the 3-point shooting totals. Brunson, honestly, the most damning thing, the fact that Jaylen Brunson only took 5 threes lets you know, and obviously 2 of them were the back-to-back massive ones in the third quarter to end that period. But like he only took 3 other threes in the entire game. Shows you how much he wasn't feeling it from deep. Bridges 1 of 5. Anunoby 4 of 13. And then Shamet didn't hit a 3. Alvarado didn't hit a 3. 0 of 3, 0 of 2, respectively. So it just, if you're not going to hit threes against, if you're going to shoot sub 30% against this team and you get good looks, I know the Knicks got good looks tonight. It's too much of an uphill battle. And the fact that they were right there. So really no complaints about the defensive game plan, offensive game plan. Thought that Mike Brown coached a really good game. Left some points on the board with the free throws. Talked about that. Talked about the shooting luck, if you want to call it that. If you want to be critical, I guess this is tough because Josh Hart clearly dealing with a bad back. For a lot of the game, I thought, again, given how good the Thunder defense is, there were absolutely possessions where, and again, this is going to be a conversation all the way through the rest of the season, all the way through the playoffs, about the utilization of Josh Hart and how they try to turn how teams that are defending him against the team that is defending him in that way. I think DJ said last night during the monologue that tonight would be a good evidence gathering or information gathering game for the Knicks. And I think it was exactly that. I thought you gained some information, gathered some information about how you could counter this specific defense with them guarding Josh Hart that way. Did it hurt them on some possessions? Did you feel that hurt? Absolutely. Did they start to utilize it to their advantage down the stretch at the end? And that's when the Thunder were most locked in. Yes, they did. And Hart obviously scored a couple baskets in crunch time there late. I remain encouraged that they're going to be able to figure this out even against the best defenses. And again, you can't disparage Hart at all because the guy toughed out 25 minutes and had 10 and 12. So this is no shade on him or even Mike Brown. It's going to be a process. But against certain teams, you are going to need a fifth shooter on the floor. And tonight, that fifth shooter was Landry Shamet. And I've been singing Landry Shamet's praises all year. Not going to stop anytime soon. I think he is establishing himself as the best his best minimum contract signing in the NBA this year. And as I've said many times, don't want to know where the Knicks would be without him. He was a plus 12 in his 31 minutes again in a game the Knicks lost by 3. That tells you everything you need to know. And again, Landry Shamet even could not buy a bucket from 3. So, the whole Knicks team was just kind of off 0 for 3, except for one guy, and that's Mohamed Diawara. Now, I could see there being some complaints about the fact that Mohamed Diawara went 3 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, and only played 13 minutes. What gives? It's tough because the guy is a bolt of energy when he's out there. He's confident from 3. He makes threes, but he is, and I'm going to keep having to say this, he is still a rookie, and you're still going to get rookie mistakes. And the little stretch he had before Mike Brown pulled him from the game for the last time, you saw some of those rookie mistakes. And against this Thunder team, you just can't concede possessions. You have to make every possession worth it. Now, obviously, there is a push and pull there, and it's a tightrope to walk that Tom Thibodeau never walked correctly because if it's Tibbs, Mohamed Diawara is not getting 13 minutes in this game. Mohamed Diawara is getting 0 minutes in this game. So for Mike Brown, it's tough where it's like, how much do we roll the dice on a rookie that clearly does a lot of good things, but is going to be prone to mistakes occasionally? There are going to be people who say he should have rolled the dice more tonight. I hear you. I was comfortable with the usage of Mohamed Diawara tonight, and I'll just take the opportunity to say, for Mohamed Diawara to come into a game like that on national television against that team and give his team the jolt in the arm that they needed, and and give them the offensive life support essentially to resuscitate them, which is exactly what those threes felt like in the moment. We keep saying it. You can't say it enough. The kid is a real player, and it's a matter of how high it goes, not if it continues to go high. So credit to Mohamed Diawara for his showing. I'll end here, and there are other specifics that we could talk. I thought OG was a menace defensively. He had a sequence early in the game with the block and the steal on Chet that was just absolutely insane. I didn't mention? So Mikal Bridges went 6 of 17 from the field. Doesn't look great. 1 of 5 from 3. Doesn't look great. Didn't have an assist, 4 rebounds. Okay, doesn't look great. What, similar to the Towns conversation, what have we been yelling and screaming for Mikal Bridges to do since he got here, and a lot this year? Be physical. Get into the basketball game in the ways that this Knicks team was known for getting into games in a certain way. And he never did that enough. And you know what? Tonight, I thought he did it. I really thought he did it. I thought his physicality that was there. I thought his approach was the right approach. I appreciated that, even on a night where, again, you look at his shooting line, you look at Brunson's shooting line, you look at Anunoby's shooting line. I mean, literally the three of them, 6 of 17, 6 of 17, 5 of 18. And they were right there. Which again, the ref part kills you too. Credit to Mike Brown for getting a tech after SGA didn't pick up the third foul there. Talked about Hart fighting. Love Shamet's defense. Yeah, I mean, they fought. The thing that set me off a ledge the night of the Piston game wasn't that they lost or it's they didn't fight. They fought tonight, and they fought for 48 minutes, and they never let go of the rope. And I get it if you want to be like, we're supposed to be a title contender here, like moral victories, like go sell that shit somewhere else. Not for me, not today. or not tonight. There haven't been many nights this year where I've been more impressed with this team than I am right now. And I mean that. Just really appreciate the effort and everything they brought to the table tonight, even though they came up short. So, yeah, that's really it. Shep, annoyed at the refs, but nothing to hang your head about tonight if you're a Knicks fan and you're excited for what lies ahead. So, yeah, there you go. Okay, let's check out our best bets, presented by our friends, of course, at Fanatics Sportsbook. So we had 3 bets tonight. So last night we went 1 for 3. Unfortunately, tonight 1 for 3. However, I could at least hold my head high tonight because I had the one winner, which was OG Anunoby over 14.5 points. I am particularly salty because if you watched Weekly Wagers earlier today with me and Sean, I gave out a parlay, a two-leg parlay, very simple 2-leg parlay. Landry Shamet to have at least 12 points, and OG Anunoby to have at least 20 points. And Anunoby or Shamet cleared, and Anunoby, boy, did he have his opportunities to clear. And if that call wasn't overturned and that was an and one, that gets him probably to 19. I suppose I would have. I'm happier I lost it by 4 as opposed to by 1 because it was a plus 1,000 something payout. I forget what it was, but I still got this one, so that's good. Jeff went Alvarado over 6.5 points. Alvarado ended up with 3. Again, couldn't hit one from downtown. He's been kind of cold from 3 if we're keeping it a buck. And then the most unfortunate beat of the night, probably the most unfortunate beat of the season. Mensa had faith in Karl-Anthony Towns to deliver a big game and went over 17.5 points, which is obviously a fair line. And Karl-Anthony Towns over 17.5, and Karl ends up with 17 on the dot. And yes, there was a missed free throw in there, which kills you. But what are you going to do? So we go 1 for 3 tonight. Again, those are our best bets presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Make sure you go download the Fanatics Sportsbook app, and you can follow along with us. Our best bets are in bets are in the app before every game. So check those out. And shout out to Fanatics. All right. I hope tonight's a positive night. Other than if you want to bash the refs all you want. That's fine. But yeah, we'll see. All right, we got a couple early super chats that are gonna start us off. I think some from earlier in the game. Anthony Perino starts us off. Thanks, Anthony. I feel like the starting lineup is a good lineup, but it's not a good lineup to start. We constantly miss wide open shots to start games. We need a sniper. Yeah, look, tonight, I mean, the starting 5, my guess is that they were outscored somewhat significantly. I'll look it up right now. I should have had that in front of me. Bad job by me. Yeah, here, I got it already right here. Starting lineup tonight was -10 in 13 minutes. So not great. And 75 offensive rating, really not great. I said the same thing the other night. I'm going to say it now. From a process standpoint, from a how do these 5 guys look together standpoint, do I believe that they are functioning the way that they should be functioning? Again, from an execution standpoint, put aside the shot making. I felt okay about it tonight. And as you say, the shots didn't fall. And you know what? With that group, a lot of times the shots don't fall. Maybe you're onto something, Anthony. I don't know. Do they need a sniper? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they do to take the pressure off of, OG and McCall to the extent they're feeling pressure. I don't know. But look, it'll continue to be a conversation because they have these moments and they have these games where they get outscored. So we'll see. Thanks, Anthony. Riyadh, JB's worst game as a Knick, bad matchup or back-to-back? Not even close to me for his worst game as a Knick. I think he's had far worse games where I really did not like his approach. Tonight, I just thought the shots didn't go down. I Look, there's always, when you go 5 for 18, you're always going to look at certain possessions and be like, yeah, he could pass that. He could have executed the offense better or whatever. It's a really tough matchup, but I also think he was just absolutely dead. Like absolutely dead. Dead legs, the whole thing. I'm not holding it. I'm not concerned. I'll say that. Thanks, Riyadh. Chris Dayton, we can all stop wondering if this team has grit. You're damn right about that, man. Probably the grittiest game of the season for me, for them. I would say so. Just because, like, trust me, there were opportunities to let go of the rope. There were opportunities to let go of the rope. And that team, they make you want to let go of the rope. And Knicks never did it. On a night, again, nobody could hit anything. And I'm sure they were dead tired. But, yeah. Kings of Leon Rose. Love OG's pick and pop. Unleash it. I mean, he shot 13 threes tonight. So I'd say they did a pretty good job of unleashing OG. Who played, by the way, a lot. You talk about the minutes. Mikal, this is the highest minute total game of the season collectively. OG 38, Mikal 40, Brunson 39. So yeah, a lot of minutes for those guys. Thankfully, a couple of days or a day off. Not thankfully. Now you're going to arguably the toughest place in the league to play, up in Mile High. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, and then this was right after the final shot. You spree, fuck yeah. Nah, man, it's a tough way to lose. You would have liked to get it into overtime. You had opportunity. Look, you had a chance. You took it down literally to the very last play against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It is tough to ask for too much more than that. Would you like to score more than 20 points in the fourth quarter? Would you like to hold a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter? Of course, you'd like to do all those things. But, what are you going to do? Thanks, you Spree. Danny Small, 19-1. So Danny Small predicted 20-0 finish for the Knicks. He is amending that to 19-1. I'm very encouraged about how the Knicks will do for the rest of the season. I'll say that. Spence from the West. What's going on, man? Hart better in the late game than early when things get sloppy and there's more ISO ball. Undermentioned downside of starting him is the pressure it puts on him. Yeah, no. I mean, look, and Josh Hart, I would say, other than maybe Karl-Anthony Towns, he is. Oh, maybe Mikal Bridges wants a word too. He's very above the neck player in that, and he literally says this in his post-game media scrums, where he like think about this. How rare is it for players to openly talk about their own confidence and potential issues that they have with their confidence? Like Josh Hart actually talks about this stuff. So it's very legit. And when he knows what's coming and he's like, I'm going to be open. I either got to shoot it or I got to figure it out. It's a lot. It's a lot. But hey, he has to figure it out. Otherwise, maybe a move to the bench is what is warranted. Aaron Chan, what's going on? Aaron, fuck the refs. Yes. Hashtag give Shamit the Supermax. Listen, we'll deal with off-season conversations when we have to deal with off-season conversations. I would be pretty surprised if Shamit was on the minimum next year for any team. I don't know if I'd go so far yet as to say that I would be shocked. I'd be between surprised and shocked if he was on anything other than the minimum. We have a quote here. This is a courtesy of an Ian Begley tweet. from Mike Brown. He does a great job of convincing the referees, probably better than anyone else in the league, that he's getting hit. I would have liked Mike Brown to go even stronger than that, if I'm being honest. But I guess Mike Brown's trying not to get a big old gold fine here on the first. I think this is his first tech of the year. I'm sure that's he's happy enough paying whatever it is on the tech. But yeah, what are you gonna do? I am AK Legend. What's going on, man? This was a good game. Yeah, it was. Held a Shea-led OKC team to 103. Yep, they could hang with anyone. I completely agree. Tonight proved. And again, I'm sorry. If you go out there and you play like that against the Pistons in a 7-game series, I think you're going to win. If you're in fact, I would be. If the Knicks went out there and gave me 7 games of that, or however many games it took of that against Detroit, like I would be shocked if they lost to the Pistons. Anyway, good last shot. Learn from it and let's move forward. Also, Dort and Shea can have a fat one. Let's go Knicks. Yeah. Jesus. Look, OKC has perfected it. And I guarantee you, knowing the sort of organization that they are, I'm sure they train their guys in all of this stuff on exactly how much you can push the envelope. And they've perfected it. So yeah. Thanks, IMAK. Chinese Swede. There it is. SGA is a great player, but the way he draws contact looks like an actor that has never seen basketball before acting in a basketball show. Lots of exaggerated limbs and flailing. Good effort, tough loss. Look, he's the best in the league at this particular thing. And look, even if he didn't do this stuff, he would still be a great player. The fact that he is able to utilize the officiating to his advantage to this degree makes him the best offensive guard in the league. And I would say, I'm trying to think, like in the last 15 or so years, just like the best offensive guard stretches that we've had. I mean, you're talking about Harden for a little while there, and Harden, by the way, similar thing, right? But SGA is going to be up there. I mean, the career he is putting together, we'll see if he qualifies in terms of the games played this year. But he's obviously the front runner for MVP. So back-to-back MVPs, that's pretty good. He's a great player. He's a great player. P.O., what's going on, man? Zero doubt we could take them in a 7-game series. Yeah, I don't want to say zero doubt. I think it would be a great series. I think it would be a great series. I think, having SGA inherently gives them a bit of an advantage. That said, I know it didn't. Here's the big thing. I know it didn't shake out tonight. I absolutely think the Knicks are a better shooting team than the Thunder. I think over the course of a 7-game series, the Knicks shooting will pan out better than the Thunder shooting. And if the Knicks can be, 85 or 90% of the defense, can play 85 or 90% of the defense that OKC plays, like they should win a series against this team. And I thought tonight they played at least that percentage of what the Thunder did defensively. Again, there's a little bit more the Knicks could figure out. Like there's more that they could do offensively. There's more meat on the bone there. Again, Cat, no threes. Like there's just no world where you're going to convince me that for as many shots as the Knicks missed, and I know they missed a ton of looks, and you could tell me with regular shooting variance, the Knicks put up 115 tonight, which is good against Thunder. You tell me all those things. I still think there's got to be a little bit more that they could do to get Cat a couple of looks, but there's more time. So yeah. Thanks, Pio. Use Spree with another one. So proud of our guys. Everyone stepped up. Yeah, man. I hope everybody shares the sentiment. I really do. I believe in this team. The refs were unfortunately the story tonight. Loved Sohan at the 5. I'm just happy Mike Brown tried it. Like, again, Mike Brown was throwing him out there in these situations early on where, again, the only quote that came to mind, shout out to Ben Stiller, if you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. The problem is he wasn't only asking Sohan to dodge the wrench, he was asking his entire team to dodge the wrench because those lineups were just untenable for everybody. And so for him to finally try tonight, the situation that I think at least when they got Sohan, I'm like, oh, at the very least, in games that Mitchell Robinson is not there, let's play him at the 5. Now, we still got Huck Porty tonight, and that's fine. And look, he tried it out. It's good. I thought it was interesting to look at. Let's maybe see some more of it, and I like that Mike Brown's been going small a little bit more here because that's a look that the Knicks are going to have to lean into a little bit more moving forward, I think. Thanks, you. Z Raheem. Is it just me or does OKC seem beatable? They are beatable. And I think they're beatable because they are not they're not some super sophisticated offense. They have the most gifted perimeter offensive player in the league and a guy when he's healthy and J-Dub next to him who is, an all-star level one-on-one scorer, but they are not some super sophisticated offense, and they have guys that and they do have to pick and choose a little bit when it comes to defense or offense. Like Lou Dort tonight made 3 of 8 from 3. For him, that's fine. You're happy with that if you're the Thunder, but like he'll go through stretches, like some of the other guys obviously were a little bit hotter, but like your Andrew Wigginses of the world and your Isaiah Joes of the world, those guys are not the level of defenders, obviously, that Caruso, who again, he could be a little hesitant from 3, and Dort are. So there's a little bit of a, on the table, off the table thing with some of their peripheral players, but it's not a super sophisticated offense. And then defensively, like there is no defense, even the Thunder, that could take away everything. And I think you saw that in the NBA Finals against the Indiana Pacers, who did not have amazing individual offensive talent. And yet they moved the ball and they shot it confidently from 3, and they made enough threes to make that obviously a 7-game series. I just think the Knicks, like they have to shoot it, and they have to keep moving the ball. They have to keep getting sprays, as Mike Brown talked about. But they showed the ability to do that against this defense. They got looks tonight. And I think they'll be able to get looks, especially if, God forbid, there's a game or games, if we ever get to play them in the NBA Finals, where Brunson really has it going. And he forces their hand a little bit more than he was able to force it tonight. So I think they're beatable, and I'd love to get the chance. Danishevsky, what's going on, man? Let me read your comment first. Lots to take away, but my 3 big ones are, number 1, I don't think Mike believes in the starters. Number 2, Cat dominant versus iHeart. He was certainly dominant on the boards. And 3, Mo does rookie stuff, but he's real. Kevin has another one. And gives the team another dimension. So I'm not going to address any of those first. First, I'm going to address, I agree with your second and third points, by the way. You advocated for them to bench everybody tonight and tank this game. And my understanding was there was some vociferous back and forths going on in chatnix.com, our chat BCC group. I'm curious what you think. If you are happy they played their guys, and obviously guys played a bunch of minutes, and I'm sure they're going to be probably still tired in Denver. So are you happy, or do you wish they had benched guys? I want to know. Does Mike Brown believe in the starters? I have to assume that he does. Because if he did not, and he was still running them out there as this starting unit with now 19 games to go, with the plan of, I'll make the change later, but they have to force my hand more. That would be pretty crazy. I think if you were a head coach of a team and you truly did not believe in the starting five, I think you're going to want to change that starting five before there were 19 games left in the season. Now, is it possible he feels like he cannot, for whatever reason, politically or otherwise, change the starting five, but maybe he still doesn't believe in it? It's possible. It's possible. To which I guess I would respond to you, what's the difference? Like, if he does or doesn't believe in it, like if he feels like he has to keep trotting it out there anyway, like look, it's a fair thing to raise. I just don't know what I feel like I've taken the thing to its logical conclusion. I don't really know what you do with it. But we will probably never know. Thanks, Kev. Mike Lasowski. All right, we got a little criticism here. Cat only getting 8 shots? Question mark. On a night he made 7 of 8. This happens way too much. That Cat doesn't get fed on nights where it looks like he has it going, especially when Brunson is off. Brunson has to make the effort to feed his big man. It's not about Brunson. It's not about effort. It's not about. It is not as easy as you are making it out to be. Like, again, this Thunder team, the way they converge on, it's not just that they're sticking whoever they're sticking on Cat. It's that everybody's leaning in, and they are the fastest, fiercest, longest, smartest, most on a string defense that we have in the league today and that we have seen in the league in quite some time. And the reality is, the one thing that Cat does not do, and the one thing that I think you saw, if you go back and you watch that early second quarter, and again, this is not meant to be shade at him because he was the Knicks' best player tonight, clearly, but he was not getting post position. He struggles to get deep post position. This has long been a criticism of Karl-Anthony Towns. That is not a strong suit of his. And when you have cinder blocks like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso guarding you, and that's why I love Clyde. I love Clyde. But when Caruso's on Cat and Clyde's like, there's a mismatch, I wanted to scream at my television, like, have you not watched Alex Caruso play defense before, Clyde? Come on, man. I know he's a little white guy, but like, this is literally like he defends Nikola Jokic, so like, this is what the Thunder do. This exact thing is what they specialize in. And the Knicks have these issues, getting Towns in spots to now. And I think the reality is, I think the solution is that when you have a defense as good as Oklahoma City, it's not about like posting up Towns. It's not about just like dumping the ball into him. You can't do that against this team. They're too good. You have to try to get him opportunities on the move. And DJ, I thought, did a great job last night during the watch along and in the post game talking about some of the stuff that the Knicks were doing better to get Cat some of those sorts of opportunities where he's getting downhill and it's not him just loading up on, and then driving on someone. Again, against this team, that's death, because you got arms coming in from everywhere and the whole thing. You have to get him on the move. You have to get him opportunities, where there's a slight advantage that has been created before, he starts going into the paint. And again, I'm not saying that they can't do it. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be more of an effort. It was literally the second thing I addressed in the monologue for a reason. But I would caution you against thinking it is as simple as intentionality. It takes way more against that defense. It takes way more than just intention. But all that said, it is the thing that they can and should do better against the Thunder. Thanks, Mike. Kent, what's going on, Kent? JB feeds Josh more in the post than Cat. Again, same thing. I'm not going to repeat everything I just said. But you know what Josh is doing to get fed in the post? He's moving. Like, on those feeds, guess what? That's a cut. Those are all off cuts. And the thing is, they're off of cuts because of the way the Thunder are guarding Josh. That's one of the ways that you could use that sort of defense against them. That's not gonna be the case with Cat. First of all, Cat's not as quick as Hart. But like you're not gonna get that same stuff. It's not like Jaylen is feeding Josh on the post when Josh is posting up and saying, "Okay, give me the ball." No, that's Thanks, Ken. Bronx kicks for life. I'm okay with the loss. Just never want to see Huck 40 minutes. It's just tough offensively. There's just, and it's such a shame because I thought he was really encouraging last year. And yet, look, do I think he cost them the game? No. I'm not even sure I could sit here and say that he contributed again, offensively he's 0. Defensively he's good. He did force a nice I think an end of shot clock or an end of clock contest had a nice end of clock contest on Holmgren. And yet, as I look at the box score, 3 turnovers. And I'm pretty sure a couple of those were on offensive fouls, and there was another one where it was off his head. He's not a refined enough offensive player to be able to play against a good defense. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Make your damn free throws. Also, fuck the refs. Yeah. Here for that. Ron Tequila, what's going on, Ron? Gotta love the Knicks fight. Not surprised with the score with known foul baiter, SGA, and known Knicks hater, Ref Ray Acosta on the floor. 8 versus 5 all night. Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. I wish I could offer any sort of a disagreement. Alas, I cannot. Knicks, by the way, improved their defensive rating after this game to 111.9. They are now inching ever so closer to the Rockets in 6th and Boston in 5th. Kane Marco, Take Mob General. What's going on? If someone could explain to me my mode in play more or why the refs hate us so much, I'm all ears. We talk about the refs already. The mode thing, I've addressed it tonight. I've addressed it on other post games. I just think it's a balance where you don't, again, you go back and watch the last couple plays before he got taken out. Like those are rookie mistakes. And again, I'm not killing him for it. He's a rookie. Rookies are supposed to make rookie mistakes. They all do. But I just think if you're gonna say why didn't Mo play more, you got to look at like the rest of the minutes and be like, all right, who should have played less? Like I don't. There's no one who was on the floor tonight where I'm like, man, I wish we didn't get so much of that guy. Obviously, guys had off nights, and Mo was hitting his shot, but I don't know. It's not where I'm. It's not where I'm devoting my energy tonight. But if you want to see more Mo Diawara, I can't blame anyone for wanting to see more Mo Diawara. Deadwords, what's going on, man? I feel like Duke Evers in Rocky IV when Drago got cut. He's not a machine. He's a man. They're not unbeatable. We can hang with them, and they beat us with some fuckery. Yes. So encouraged by this game. Yeah, me too. I mean, I guess one of the last things for me, we are getting a little bit more of a sample size that the Knicks, when they play really good defenses, they have struggled. They've had their struggles from deep. So obviously this season, excuse me, this season against the Detroit Pistons, I'm pulling it up right now. This season against Detroit, the Knicks have shot from deep 23%, 24%, and then actually in their first game, which was not really ever competitive, it was like kind of a blowout from the first quarter. They did shoot 43% in that game, but I'm not sure I really put much faith in that. This game, they shot 29%. The last game against Cleveland, where Cleveland really defended, they shot 27% from three. So they've had their struggles from deep. Even this past San Antonio game that I thought they played obviously really well. They shot 35% from three. But I don't know. San Antonio, I know they rank very highly in defense. The Knicks don't seem to fear them. It's the physical defenses that I think maybe throw them off a little bit from deep. But what are you going to do? All right. Thanks, Edwards. All right, we can do stat of the game. -2 turnover differential. This was only the 9th time this season the Thunder have lost the turnover battle. How you doing? Which leads the league by a wide margin. The second-place Pistons have only done it 17 times, and they're in second. Again, 8 steals, no blocks tonight. Only their 5th game of the season with 8 or fewer stocks, and the first time they haven't recorded a single block. That's impressive. They also had 16 turnovers for only the 12th time. So great job by the Knicks. Hopefully that, again, is something sustainable that they could rely on moving forward. And the other thing that Jonah doesn't mention here, but that I will just check out right now, is the Thunder committed 16 turnovers, and the Knicks scored 23 points off of those 16 turnovers. I know there were some opportunities there where the Knicks were not able to convert, where it looked like, man, they had a pretty good shot there. But again, credit to the Thunder. They are, like they are at pretty much everything, great at getting back in transition defense. So, great stat there from Jonah Kaufman, our statistician extraordinaire. Jeffrey Glenn, what's going on, Jeff? Extremely tough loss, but this was a positive. Yes, the defense is legit. Don't dwell on the calls, Knicks Nation. We will see them again. I really hope so. And what a fun series that would be. What a fun series it would be against San Antonio. What a fun series it would be against Denver. My Lord, can you imagine the Armageddon that would ensue if they played Minnesota in the finals? 1994 rematch against the Houston Rockets. 1970 or 1973 rematch against the Los Angeles Lakers. Quite literally, any finals matchup involving the Knicks would be a hell of a finals matchup. We just got to get there. And, look, the East is not going to be a picnic. But I will say it right. I will not, unequivocally, if they play like they played tonight, every time they go out there in the postseason, this team will make the finals. I believe that with all of my heart. If they play like they did tonight, and they play like they've been playing here this last little bit of time, every night, because that's the thing is you got to, there are good teams in the East, so you can't you may not be able to afford to take a night off or take a couple nights off in a series. You probably have to go out there and do it every time. But if you play like this every time, we may see the rematch. Thanks, Jeffrey. John Leary, what's going on, John? Stealing this from XJ, but it's another game the Knicks have to dig out of the starting 5 minutes out of a hole. San Antonio and OKC destroyed the Knicks starting 5 minutes. Yeah, look, we've all talked about it. It's not any great revelation that the Knicks starting 5 are struggling. I was the first one last year who said repeatedly, and people looked at me like I was crazy, that, guys, it's not just the center on heart stuff. There's something about this starting 5 that I don't love. I've said it this year that I don't believe in this starting 5. It was really, more than anything, the genesis of my losing my shit after the Detroit game, is because these 5 guys were assembled to be the best starting 5 in basketball, and I didn't feel like they've ever gotten close to that level. Obviously, the last 2 games, they have been outscored. If you go back and you watch those possessions and you look at the shots that they got, and again, San Antonio was a little bit different because it was a lot of heart early on in terms of shooting. And if he's not confident and he's firing away and he's not confident, that is a death knell against a good team. You cannot have that situation. I did not feel tonight, watching what I watched with this group, that their shots were bad shots. And I thought they got good quality looks for the most part. The part of the conversation that always seems to get lost is the reason why the starting five is the starting five. And it is not only the Knicks' 5 best players, because that doesn't always mean everything, but the fact that we have seen this unit work and function great. And it is largely because Josh Hart is doing a lot of Josh Hart stuff. Is there a world where they should just start 5 shooters because of what the other gentleman was alluding to in the previous super chat? We're just getting another shooter out there alleviates a little bit of pressure, and you could still play this 5 guys significant minutes throughout the course of a game, but it's not out of the gate, so the pressure lessens a little bit. Maybe. I said this in the preseason that I would like to see a Deuce starting 5. I've said it throughout the season multiple times. If Mike Brown wants to try a different starting 5, I would be all for it. But the amount of energy that some people spend on making this starting 5 out to be the be-all, end-all death knell. If they just change this, it's rainbows and fucking gummy drops, and candy canes. Come on, guys. Like, it's bait, And the people putting the bait out there, they're smart enough to know what they're doing. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into a basketball team, and the smartest thing that I have heard anyone say, I think, came from DJ recently. And DJ has been fighting the good fight, and he's a lot more polite than I am about this stuff. There is so much that we don't know behind the scenes, what goes on in the locker room, behind closed doors. And to sit here and to pretend like we know what's best because of what we see in the games and because of the statistics that are accessible to us as the public. And we draw conclusions from that, hard and fast conclusions. This is all data points. It's all data points. And you take the data points and you factor it in and you make the best decisions. I guarantee you the people making these decisions have far more data points than we have. And it's funny. And the last thing I'm going to say on this, because I heard all of last season, oh, it's one asshole. It's the coach. It's one asshole. Get him out of there. Get in someone with a brain who's not a dinosaur. And now, lo and behold, oh, shit, different man, different bench, brought in all kinds of different people. Collaboration, right? That's the buzzword, collaboration. So now with that, you got the front office's input. So it's a whole different scenario. You got all the different input. You've shipped out the old and in with the new. And what do you know? Same decisions being made. I guess everybody's an idiot, right? It's the only conclusion, because we have all the answers here sitting in our chairs watching from home because we have our little laptops and we can, synergy, whatever else the fuck. I mean, come on, people. We're New Yorkers. We're smarter than this. Do not let people that engage in what they engage in for this exact type of bullshit get what they want. Thank you, John. All right, next up. Shots off, no Mitch, ref ball, Chet turning into Steph, Shea being coddled back-to-back, and we only lost by 3 with a chance to tie. I can't be mad. Go New York, go. Yeah, I co-sign all of that. Oscar, what's going on, Oscar? How you doing, man? Honestly thought we played well. The shots just not falling. The refs didn't help either. Wanted more Mo minutes, but he needs to be stronger on the boards, and we missed Mitch. I would have really liked to see Mitch in this game. And look, I know they ended up beating the Raptors by 16 points. That was a 2-point game last night, and I thought Mitch was a contributor to the win. What would have been really unfortunate is to drop that Raptors game and then drop this game tonight. So I'm not going to sit here and lament the decision to play Mitch against the Raptors and sit him against the Thunder tonight. I would have been very curious. Like, again, we're talking about data points. We're talking about getting more information. All of this stuff is very valuable. I would have liked to see what Mitch would have been able to do against them. I would have been curious. I don't know that they would have gone to it against this team for a variety of reasons, but I would have been curious to see the double big against this Thunder team. Again, because what's another possible pathway to beating the Thunder? Just rebound all your misses and get multiple bites at the apple. But yeah. Next up, Hush Zoo. What's going on, Hush? Can't complain much. Atrocious referee job, but the defense was here. Yes, or there. Was just up to the shot making. This is the type of effort I wanted. Can hang my hat on. I'm glad, and Hush, I know you're like me, very emotional. We get disappointed when there are things to get disappointed about. So the fact that I'm hearing you kind of echo some of the same sentiments that I am feeling after this game, I would say is, it's encouraging. Thanks, Hush. Another one, I think, from Hush here. I have to say, even though he works through it no matter how it looks, just players ignoring Josh and JB seeing so many bodies, it's just an eyesore. Yeah, like, again, these are the things you have to work through as a team. It's part of the process. And there are going to be times they work through it successfully, and we're sitting here and we're like, oh my God, thank God for Josh Hart, like last night when he was the player of the game. Again, it's always funny how conveniently and quickly we forget this stuff sometimes. But it's a process, and there are times we're going to need to go more 5 out. And tonight I thought Mike Brown kind of leaned into 5 out more. It's just the starting unit didn't make shots tonight. So Iceman Sham, what's going on? Ain't losing sleep over this one. Fought like hell. The defense is very real. The refs were clowns. But aside from that, the game came down to shot making, in my opinion. Yeah. I have nothing to add. I agree with every word of it, man. Got another one from Iceman Sham here. The man against this defense, though, with their closeout speed, it feels like you can't pass up any semi-open looks. And that's like, and I've this goes back to last season where I think I became fond of saying the Knicks are a team that will shoot threes. They're not dying to shoot threes. And again, if we're giving credit where credit is due, all the credit in the world to Oklahoma City Thunder for being a team that really, really leans into their three-point shooting. Like when they are open, they shoot it. They do not hesitate, like ever. And sometimes it bites them in the ass, and sometimes it's like they win games. Like tonight, I think was the latter. I just want to look something up real quick. So the Knicks in three-point frequency right now are 10th. So, again, that's good. First from the corners. Nobody shoots more corner threes than the Knicks. But 19th above the break. And I think if you're going to say that there's something like about what the Knicks do other than the Towns piece, and that he's not a traditional number two, and you have to have a different conversation about ways that he can impact the game. If you're going to make the argument that this is not a great matchup for the Knicks, you're going to make the argument, I think, that the Knicks are not a team that wants to fire away really from above the break. Again, 19th in non-corner three frequency, and then 13th in non-corner three accuracy. So, again, first from the corners, third most accurate team from the corners, which actually makes me want to see, again, the Knicks on the year hit 42.3% from the corners. What did they hit from the corners tonight? Corner threes. The Knicks tonight, well, there's your ball game. 3 of 13. So that's 23%. So if the Knicks just shoot their normal percentage from the corners, and I'm pretty sure 5 for 13, I'm doing some quick math right here. Yeah, 5 for 13 from the corners, that's 38.4%. That's still below their normal percentage. 6 for 13 from the corners, that's 46%. So like but even if they would have shot just made 2 more corner threes, which is still below their normal corner 3 percentage. That's 6 points. That's enough to win the basketball game. But yeah. Thanks, Iceman. You Spree, what's going on? Still thinking about the 4 phantom kick balls in the first half that stopped our fast breaks. Fuck the refs. Yeah, I'm not sugarcoating any of it tonight. We're gonna get all the curse words out there in the open. 100%. Thanks, you Spree. Spence from the West with another one. Starting lineup net rating, negative 35.7 in 13 minutes tonight. I love Josh. We need him, but this is painful. And it feels a lot like the playoffs. The starting lineup goes down, the bench saves them. I would just go look at the looks that they got tonight with the starting 5 out there. That's all I'm encouraging people to do. Go back and see the shots that they missed. They had looks. I'm not saying that there is not a world where they should not change from this starting 5. I do not feel that is why they lost the basketball game tonight. Yeah, Mark, we could do a quick watch party shout out. Might as well. I got a handful of super chats left, but first things first, if you would like to get some brunch with, I wish we were getting brunch with Jaylen Brunson, but brunching with Brunson. So come out, watch the Knicks game versus the Lakers at Penn 6 on Sunday. So you want to, there's going to be some KFS people there. I am still working on getting my wife to okay our presence at this event. Fingers crossed. But there'll be a bunch of KFS people there. We got a ton of Knicks fans that have already RSVP'd. If you want to come, if you think you might want to come, RSVP. The RSVP has been pinned in the chat. It's tinyurl.com/KFS brunch. And shout out to Sophie Dash. She's helping us promote this. There's going to be, giveaways. First 25 RSVPs getting that show up or receiving this neutral bucket for free, which is very cool. Looks like a delicious alcoholic beverage. And then there's also a $50 bottomless brunch if you want it from 2:30 to 4. Or you can just show up and hang out, watch the game. All right. That is this Sunday. All right, let's finish up. Last handful. KB and Andor. What's going on, KB? And Cal was locked in but didn't win, like Robert Downey Jr. in Zodiac. That's a reference. That's a reference. Yeah, RDJ did not win in Zodiac. Very much so. Did not win. Danishevsky. Oh, I took the L in the chat already. I was wrong. Hey, look at you admitting. I tell you, earlier today, I'm not going to divulge the context, but my wife said the words like, I forget if she said I was wrong or you were right. But we were having a conversation about parenting, and she gave me the. So I got a I was wrong from Danishevsky, and I got a you were right from my wife in the same day. I should probably just end it now because it's not going to get any better for me. It's quite a double dip. Thanks, Kev. Ryan S. Sartor, what's going on, Ryan? I value everything Hart does, but, of course there's a but. I wish he had more confidence to just shoot the ball. I mean, yes. I thought he were going in a different direction. Yeah, 100%. It's his Achilles heel. His lack of shooting confidence, his doubt in himself and his abilities at times, it is honestly the thing holding him back from being like a borderline all-star level player. Now, you could say there are some people who think he's a borderline all-star level player right now. I would not go that far, and I love Josh Hart, but he's not. And the reason he's not is because of all of this stuff that we're talking about. And it does make it tough. It does make it tough sometimes. But again, and if you really mean that, Ryan, and I think you do, that you value everything he does, that's why you go through the tough stretches. But if you're Mike Brown, and again, this is one of the many reasons why, if you're a fan and you want this team to win a championship, you should feel encouraged with Mike Brown on the sidelines, being here and doing something that Tom Thibodeau seemingly refused to do, which is like, hey, there are games where for all that Josh does, he's not giving me my best chance to win right now. I got to go in a different direction. Mike Brown has shown that he's willing to push that button, whereas Tibbs never would. So that's a key moving forward. Anyway, a DUR a night where Hart shoots 13 threes would heal me. Yeah, if he makes some of them, yeah. PQ from BK, what's going on? The lack of chemistry between Brunson and Towns is baffling. I don't know who is at fault, but he doesn't even look at his center, give Cat the ball. Again, not that simple, but I also will acknowledge that they do not, as we've talked about many times, have the level of chemistry that you ideally would like from your two best players. But again, whose fault is it? Is it anyone's fault? Would I like it to be better? Yeah, but I think we've seen signs of improvement since the break. Little signs, but I think we've seen signs. Thanks, PQ. Beloved of Faith, since the break, Jose 5 of 29 and Josh 6 of 29 from 3. Yeah, the Jose one really hurts because he is supposed to hit his threes. Josh, he's going to go through, like, you knew Josh was not going to finish the year shooting 41% from 3, which is where he was for most of the year. Jose, you hoped he came here and he could just continued shooting it like he was shooting it, which was, I think, 36% in New Orleans. And that has hurt them. That has hurt them. I love what Jose has done. He's been an impact player, helping winning basketball in a lot of different ways, but they need that dude to make his shots. And he had a lot of opportunities to put him up tonight, too. He didn't take him. So, which is maybe the bigger sin against this Thunder team. And that goes for Josh, too, obviously. Haitian, what's going on, brother? The non-call on Shea changed the game. Yeah, you could argue that. At the same time, like, they were still in it. So, but it absolutely impacted the game in a big way. He was allowed to finish the first half. Loved our ability to fight through the bad calls, not going 7 versus Detroit. I hope you mean that we'll beat Detroit in more than 7 or in less than 7. Can't go more than 7 unless they've changed the rules. I don't know. I mean, I think Detroit is just, if they play Detroit, look, I just want the opportunity to face those guys, because that would mean that the Knicks have made it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, unless they fall to 4, which I don't think they're going to fall to 4, but you never know. Either way, I want an opportunity to play those guys again, and I know we're going to face this Thunder team again at the end of this month. I would like for that not to be the last time that we play them, because I think it would be a great series. Not saying the Knicks would win, but I think they could win, which is more than I would have said a couple weeks ago. That's for sure. Thanks, Haitian. Appreciate that. And appreciate everybody checking out another Knicks Film School Postgame Show. Would have been nice to get this one, but I think the positivity with the Super Chats kind of, speaks to where the mindset should be after this loss, which is you feel good about a lot of what you saw tonight. So I will be back on Friday after the Denver game. In the meantime, you can catch all of our stuff on social media at Knicks Film School, SKOOL. You do all the other stuff that you could do to help support us here at Knicks Film School. Subscribe, rate, review, like button, hit that like button, slam that like button. Haitian with another one. Hey, Knicks in 6, yes. Knicks in 6. I love it. Andrew's famous words. And yeah, I think that's it. All right. I'll see everybody on Friday after the game. That's the next time you'll see me. In the meantime, take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. And not that she will watch this, but happy birthday to my daughter, Isabel, who it's her birthday for another 55 minutes as I'm saying these words. Later.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.